Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shaka, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. In this one, I wanted to speak to you about disarming ourselves in a situation where, it's a conflictual situation where both people are in a high temper and you're in a situation where, tempers are rising, you're fighting with each other, and you're both armed and ready to go. Not necessarily armed in terms of you have guns or anything, obviously, right? But you're armed in the sense that your heart is armed or your mind is armed and you're ready to fight. In that situation, I've noticed something that I've been doing recently that's really helped me particularly that I wanted to share with you. That if you are able to disarm yourself in that moment in time, you're able to kind of let go of those shackles in your minds and your heart and actually relax into yourself and really be like, all right, cool, I'm going to disarm myself. Even if that means that the other person's still armed, I'm still going to disarm myself. You're going to notice that automatically somehow the other person senses that you're disarmed, senses that the shackles from your heart and your minds have kind of dropped off, and they disarm themselves as well. Automatically it happens, right? I'll give you an example. It kind of maybe is a little too abstract without an example. So, for example, recently I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I asked her a question, knowing that it's a difficult question for her to answer. And I knew that I was asking her a difficult question, but I knew that it was necessary. And so I asked her the question, and instantaneously I could feel her hackles rising. I could feel like, oh, she's getting angry. And it was a video call, so I could tell. I'm sure I could have told even if it was an audio call because she was really angry all of a sudden. As if like all of a sudden, you get triggered, and all of a sudden you're from like 0 to 100, right? And that's where she was. Like she was at 0, it was okay, and all of a sudden she's at 100, and she's angry, and her face is convoluted, her body language is completely. You can tell that she's arming herself. She's getting ready for a fight, for a battle. And it's just a fight or flight mechanism in our body, the sympathetic nervous system. It believes that a lion's coming and chasing us, and all of a sudden we're like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight, whatever it is that needs to be fought. Of course, there's no real danger there, but we believe there is. And so she kind of armed herself, right? And she was ready to like fight with me. And normally in the situation, I'm like, well, how dare she get ready to fight with me? I'm just being a friend and I'm just trying to help her out, and how dare she? And I'm gonna get ready to arm myself too, right? And normally I'd be like, all right, I'm ready to, let's fight. And this time around, I was like, I don't actually want to fight about this. Actually, this is not going to be useful if we fight. She's a friend of mine. I'm actually trying to help her out. And so if I am able to stay disarmed, and that basically means if I'm able to stay peaceful, calm within myself, in my heart, in my love zone, like in my heart zone, and not stay in my head or in my, fight mode, if I'm able to just relax myself and not go into arming myself mode, then I believe that it should be fine. If one person is trying to fight with you, right? If there's someone who's trying to fight with you and you're not trying to fight back, if you're just sitting there thinking, okay, I'm not fighting. You can fight if you want, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to engage you. Then the other person's eventually going to run out of steam. It's just not possible. You need two opponents in order to engage with each other. Sorry. You need two opponents in terms of that, if there's one person who's like ready to go and fighting, another person's just peaceful and calm, the person who's angry is eventually going to be like, oh, they're not giving me anything. I can't fight with a person who's not fighting with me, right? And so a lot of times I realize that conflicts in that manner, like one-on-one, I would imagine, are only because those two people have armed themselves and they're ready to go at each other. They're ready to fight with each other, right? And so I was imagining, okay, how about I disarm myself, right? How about I just don't even engage with my friend? And if she wants to say whatever she wants to say, it's okay. I can take it. I'm an adult. And it's nothing to do with me. It's just her anger spilling over, right? So I sat with it and I was like, all right, I'm not going to arm myself. I sat and I was peaceful and I was still in my heart. I didn't close off my heart. I was still like, okay, I'm going to keep it open. I'm going to keep myself open. And so she obviously started the tirade of anger and she started saying things about, you're a terrible friend, this and that. And of course, all those things hurt. But I was still like, no, I'm not going to close my heart off. I'm going to keep it open. It's okay. It's going to blow over. And if I can stay open during this, I know that we can get past it. And I have noticed for myself at least, it's like when I do arm myself, that the fights last forever and ever and ever. Like literally we're sitting there and we're fighting and fighting and fighting until we're exhausted. And then we hang up and we go off and we fight on our heads for the rest of the day and for the rest of the night and maybe the rest of the week, right? But in that moment, as I disarmed myself and I just sat there, she very quickly blew over. Like it was like as if there was a wind or a storm within her. That trigger that had happened caused her to be angry. And there's a storm within her. And, she kind of like blew a little bit. She said a few things, maybe for a couple of minutes. And then because I wasn't reacting to it, not even physically, I didn't even let it show my face that I was upset because I wasn't. And I kept my heart open and I just sat there and I listened. In a couple of minutes, she was done. It was gone. She was disarmed as well, right? And because I hadn't armed myself, even though she had armed herself, she was able to disarm herself very quickly. And then she sat there for a few seconds actually looking at me and I looked at her and then that was it. And that was the end of that. And then she apologized and it was over. Because it wasn't as if I was trying to attack her. And then that's what I told her after. I was like, I'm not attacking you, but you've told me to tell you whenever something's happening that you want to grow on. And I think this is a really good thing you could grow upon. This quality of yours, if you're able to improve on it, you're going to go so far. And so that's what I told her after. And she understood. But I can imagine that the scenario would have been completely different if I had armed myself too. And I'm like, all right, cool. If she wants to fight, I'm ready to fight. And I could have been like, all right, yeah, no, you're a terrible friend too. You did this to me 3 years ago and then this and that. And then we could have sat there for 2 or 3 hours arguing, yelling, crying, and exhausted by the end of it, right? Instead, by disarming myself, I was able to let it go. She was able to let it go in 2-3 minutes. And we were able to move past it. And our friendship wasn't ruined. Our relationship wasn't ruined. And we were able to go past it. Now, of course, this is difficult to do. Actually, I think it's one of the most difficult things for me to do is to disarm myself. Because in a lot of cases, with my fight or flight mode on all the time, my instinct, my first instinct, my highest instinct is to fight, to go into fight mode. Because they're not going to push me down, and I'm going to fight with them, and I'm going to yell at them. And this is actually a lot of what's happening on the channel as well, with a lot of people who are commenting about, the stuff that I've been posting. The last comment about the white privilege thing that I posted, the image that I posted about Tom Brady and all the comments that came after that. My instinct is to arm myself against those people because I'm like, no, I'm going to fight them. How dare they say this about that? And how dare they don't believe in this? And I'm going to fight with them. And it's going to be a good fight. And I'm going to come out on top and things like that, right? But then in my head, I started thinking, what is the point of fighting with these people? First of all, nothing you say is going to convince them. Nothing they say is going to convince you. So the point is that it's moot, basically. There's no point of you saying anything to them. Let them vent. It's fine. Right? Let them say whatever they want to say because they're going to say it anyways, right? Now, of course, it doesn't mean that I'm just sit there and let them bash me over. If they are personally attacking me or saying derogatory comments to people, of course, they're going to be blocked because that's ridiculous to, go personal into this thing. This is not personal. I did not post those things in order to personally attack anyone. It's something that I'm commenting on the state of the world right now. But except for that, I decided to disarm myself. And I'm really trying. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's difficult, right? And so sometimes if the issue is very, very close to my heart, it's very hard for me to disarm myself. Be like, all right, no, don't react. Just relax. It's okay. It's not a personal attack against you. It's okay. You don't have to arm yourself. It's not a threat here. You're not under attack. Just relax and stay in your heart, right? And as I said, sometimes it's very easy for me to do it. And I can be like, oh, cool, yeah, I was able to disarm myself and the other person in turn. But sometimes I can't. Sometimes I can't disarm myself. And I notice myself, oh, my heart's closing. I notice myself getting tighter and closer and contracted and angrier and more emotional about it, right? And that's when I'm like, oh, all right, cool. You have to stop doing that because otherwise you're going to waste a lot of energy in this, of course, which is something that I don't want to do. But also time, also, of course, which I don't want to do. But also, it's just not a useful use of time because if you disarm yourself, it actually blows over faster, right? And so you're able to come to a resolution quicker if you can disarm yourself, right? Of course, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm hoping that because I've shared this with you now, you can kind of look at your own scenarios and your own lives and be like, all right, cool. In which situations can I disarm myself, right? Some situations maybe you're like, no, this is actually something I need to fight about, right? And the Rage Against the Patriarchy that I'm publication that I have on Medium, these are things I need to fight about. I'm not going to disarm myself. I need to fight about these things. I'm going to do it from a place of love, but I still need to talk about these issues. But other issues where I'm like, did you put the toilet seat up or down? Some issues like that, which are inconsequential, really, you have to be like, all right, am I going to arm myself in this regard, or am I going to let it go and hopefully let the issue pass by faster, right? So hopefully I was able to explain myself to you. It literally is a game changer, has been a game changer for me. And so really disarm yourself, because you'll notice that the other person will automatically disarm themselves too. If you have questions, comment below. Again, thank you so much for listening, for being on my channel, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.